The top stories tonight in Y News. The Department of Health detected additional 466 COVID-19 Delta variant cases in the Philippines as the country reports a record high of more than 18,000 confirmed COVID-19 cases today.
The Department of Health supports PhilHealth on hospital policy claims amid threats of private hospitals that they will cut ties with the state health insurance.
The House of Representatives is all set to scrutinize the proposed 2022 budget, particularly the 240 billion pesos for COVID-19 response. The Armed Forces of the Philippines is confident that military forces can prevent any possible spillover into the Philippines of the ongoing conflict in Afghanistan.
An Afghan woman delivers baby upon reaching Germany.
OPM A-listers staged all-out virtual performances at Wish 1075's 7th anniversary concert as Wish FM gives back through 7 acts of love. Good evening, Philippines and the world. We are now reporting live from Quezon City. Today is Monday, August 23, 2021. I am Henri Delgado.
Join us in the next hour as we deliver today's top stories around the country and in other parts of the world. Evangelo Castro III.
We are also seen in 1,935 satellite monitoring centers nationwide and via live streaming worldwide through the UNTV News and Rescue social media accounts and our website, untvweb.com. I am William Theo.
First in the news. Around 75% of the cash assistance has already been distributed to beneficiaries affected by the enhanced community quarantine in the National Capital Region. But Malacanang denied reports that the financial aid will be forfeited after the quarantine restriction has been downgraded. Rosa Licons has the story.
Low-income residents in Metro Manila greatly affected by the 2-week reimposition of the enhanced community quarantine can still claim their cash assistance. This despite the shift to modified enhanced community quarantine in the National Capital Region. Apart from this, the Department of Social Welfare and Development will provide food packs to those who are still in need of assistance.
Habang hindi nyo pa po natatanggap ang ayuda ninyo, maski na ibaba sa MECQ ang classification, tatanggapin nyo pa rin po ang ayuda na intended para doon sa panahon na ECQ.
Based on the data of the Department of the Interior and Local governments in Metro Manila have already distributed 75% of the ayuda funds from the national government. LGUs have until August 25 to complete the distribution but can submit requests for an extension. Meanwhile, Malacanang is hoping that the strictest community quarantine imposed over Metro Manila recently will be the last in the country's capital.
Let's just say that we are hoping, kasi alam nyo naman, kada lockdown natin, we have to adjust again our economic forecast. So far, positive pa rin pong inaasahan nating economic development within the year of 2021. Pero another lockdown, baka po hindi na natin makamit ang positive growth.
Octa Research said ECQ from August 6 to 20 has slowed down the COVID-19 infections in Metro Manila. But the efforts needs to be sustained over the next 4 weeks to control the pandemic. Rosa Licos, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The Department of Health supports PhilHealth on the implementation of policy for the hospital claims. Meanwhile, PhilHealth clarified hospitals under investigation will not be stripped of their right to due process. Ray Pelayo has the details.
The latest circular of the Philippine Health Insurance Corporation on the suspension of payments of claims of healthcare providers that are under investigation is just part of its policy. The Department of Health noted that PhilHealth is part of the government and funds from the people's taxes must be protected.
Kaya meron ho tayong check and balance within our processes, and that is what PhilHealth is doing.
The Private Hospital Association of the Philippines, or FAPI, said that this will affect their operation. Thus, the group is now planning to disengage with PhilHealth.
Ibig sabihin, tatanggap ka ng pasyente pero hindi ka nila babayaran. until may kaso, habang may kaso po. And yun po ang natatakot kami kasi kung ganun po, ibig sabihin wala, papatayin nila ang mga ospital.
But PhilHealth spokesperson Dr. Shirley Domingo said in an interview that the private hospitals might have been confused in reading the circular. The state health insurance stressed it can grant them more favors compared to the earlier directives. Domingo reiterated that they have to protect their funds for sustainability. Malacanang on Monday ordered PhilHealth to pay all claims of private hospitals as some of them are mulling to cut ties with the state insurer.
Huwag po natin gamitin yung blacklisting and the threat of blacklisting dahil ulitin ko po, hindi kakayaning ma-implement ang universal healthcare na panggobyernong hospital lamang po ang magbibigay ng serbisyo, lalong-lalo na sa panahon ng pandemya.
The Palace official also called on PhilHealth chief to sack erring officials allegedly involved in fraudulent hospital claims. Ray Pilayo, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
Meanwhile, Malacanang appealed to the group of health workers to think twice before making decisions. This comes after a group of nurses warns of mass resignation. Janice Inhente will tell us why.
Malacanang reassured the healthcare workers in the country that they will be given a special risk allowance. Presidential spokesperson Henri says the president already ordered Health Secretary to immediately release the benefits for our medical frontliners.
Wag naman po sana, no? Dahil nag-order naman po ang presidente na within 10 days from last Friday, kinakailangan mabigay na ito mga special risk allowance. At kapag nag-resign po sila, dadami yung hanay na walang trabaho sa panahon ng pandemya, mas lalala po ang problema natin kung mas maraming walang trabaho sa panahon ng pandemya at wala naman po tayong karagdagang ayuda na maibibigay.
The group of nurses has started the 10-day countdown, and in case the government fails to release their allowances, they will be forced to resign.
Tingin ko, isa na yon sa magaganap. No, yung mga kasamahan natin na talaga namang kung frustrated na walang nangyayari. Ang iba po talaga sa kanila ay gustong-gusto na pong mag-resign. Kung hindi matutuloy ang pangako nilang mai-release ang benepisyo until September 1, I'm sure mabilis pa ang pagsak ng resignation paper ng ating mga kasamahang nurses.
Under Bayanihan to Heal Us One Act 2, 5,000 pesos should be given to each medical frontliner attending to COVID-19 cases. Janice Inhente, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
A Senate panel has summoned a former budget undersecretary to shed light on the purchase of alleged overpriced medical supplies at the height of the pandemic. Arlene Delgado will tell us why.
Senate Blue Ribbon Committee Chairperson Richard Gordon has signed a subpoena to summon former Department of Budget and Management Undersecretary Lloyd Christopher Lau. Lau's name was mentioned in the first Senate Blue Ribbon Committee hearing as he was the head of the DBM procurement service when the purchase of the alleged overpriced face masks and face shields were made last year. Gordon says it is important that a former budget official appears before the committee to explain the said purchase. Lau was previously investigated over the procurement of overpriced medical supplies. Lau earlier defended the purchase of the face masks and face shields, saying that its prices were the cheapest at the time. The former budget official earlier expressed willingness to face the Senate panel.
I believe the objectivity of the Senate, the Blue Ribbon Committee, headed by Senator Gordon, that it is fair and just, and it is a proper and appropriate avenue for me to shed light on what actually transpired. So it is actually a good thing.
The Senate Blue Ribbon Committee will resume its hearing on Wednesday on the deficiencies flagged by the Commission on Audit on the Department of Health's use of multi-billion COVID-19 funds, while the House Committee on Public Accounts is also expected to resume the third round of its own inquiry on the matter soon. Henri Delgado, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The Department of Health detected additional 466 COVID-19 Delta variant cases in the country. This came after the DOH confirmed that there is already community transmission of the said variant in Metro Manila and Calabarzon. Aiko Miguel will give us the details live. Aiko, what's the basis of the DOH or Department of Health in saying that there's already community transmission of the Delta variant in the said areas?
Diego, the health department noted the large number of Delta variant cases in Metro Manila and Calabarzon. Also, according to case investigations analysis, it showed that these cases are no longer linked to one another. Here is Undersecretary Maria Rosario Vergere, the spokesperson of the Department of Health.
So kapag nakakita tayo ng mga kaso or clustering in an area, tumataas ang kaso, alam natin that there is already the presence of the Delta variant in areas.
The DOH meanwhile clarifies that the government needs further evidence to support the announcement of the whole country to have community transmission of the Delta variant. Today, the DOH also confirms additional variant cases. Diego, there are 466 Delta variant cases, 90 Alpha variant cases, 105 Beta variant cases, and 41 P.3 variant alerts for further monitoring. Currently, there are now 1,273 Delta variant cases in the Philippines. However, the DOH also explains big lockdowns are no longer effective to curb COVID-19 infection.
Yung malakihan ng mga lockdown at restrictions ay mukhang hindi na po nagiging effective para sa atin dito sa ating bansa. We have implemented these lockdowns for how many times already? Last March of 2020, nag-July and August tayo, tapos ito uling March and April of 2021, and now.
Diego, based on the DOH and FASTER's projections, with the implementation of MECQ in the country after 2 weeks of ECQ or enhanced community quarantine, Metro Manila will reach 66,000 active cases by end of August and over 269,000 active cases by September 30, 2021. Meanwhile, intensifying the country's efforts in these strategies while under MECQ may result in 83,921 active cases by August 31 and 158,489 active cases in NCR by September 30. The latest projections suggest that the best case scenario or the least number of active cases in NCR is seen when there is an improvement in the vaccination, shortening the interval between symptom onset and isolation to at most 6 days, and compliance to the minimum public health standards.
Mas magiging effective at mas magiging advantageous para po sa ating lahat kung bababaan natin ng konti pero mag-granular lockdowns tayo.
And that is the latest live. Back to you, Diego.
Thank you for that report, Aiko Miguel, reporting live. The Philippines today logged a record high of 18,332 new COVID-19 cases, the country's highest single-day tally so far. The Department of Health, or DOH, added that the latest figure pushed the active cases to 130,350 and the total tally of infections to 1,857,646. Of these cases, 94.8% are mild, 2.5% are asymptomatic, 0.92% are moderate, 1.23% are severe, and 0.6% are in critical condition. The tally does not include data from 3 accredited testing laboratories that failed to submit the report on time, the DOH noted. Meanwhile, total recoveries rose to 1,695,335 after 13,794 more patients recuperated from the disease. The death toll from COVID-19 also climbed to 31,961 with 151 new fatalities. Meanwhile, according to the Johns Hopkins University The current global caseload and death toll stood at 211,921,924 and 4,432,694 respectively. The USA is still the worst hit country with the world's highest number of cases and deaths at 37,711,159 and 628,504 respectively, according to the CSSE. In terms of infections, India follows in second place with 32,449,306 cases and 434,756 deaths. In terms of deaths, Brazil comes second with 574,527 fatalities and 20,570,891 confirmed cases.
The Department of Budget and Management submitted on Monday to the House of Representatives a proposed budget plan for the year 2022 amounting to 5.024 trillion pesos. President Rodrigo Duterte calls Congress to swiftly pass it. The lower house is now ready to scrutinize the 2022 national budget, particularly the budget for the COVID-19 response of the government. Nel Maribuhok will give us the details.
The submission of the 5.024 trillion peso 2022 national budget to Congress signals the start of the legislative process of evaluation, debate, and amendments. According to House Speaker Lord Alan Velasco, the lower house is all set to carry its mandate to scrutinize the proposed budget, particularly the 240 billion pesos for COVID-19 response. President Rodrigo Duterte said in his message that his proposed budget is crucial because it is the key in the battle against COVID-19 in the coming year. He also calls out Congress to approve it for the safeguard of the people from future impacts of the pandemic. According to Presidential Spokesman Henri, the 2022 budget was carefully crafted to provide the necessary funding requirements.
Itong 2022 National Expenditure Program po, sang-ayon sa DBM, ay binuo para po magbigay ng pondo at suporta sa lahat po ng mga pangangailangan natin habang tuloy-tuloy pa rin ang COVID-19 pandemic at para po masustain ang trajectory ng ating economic growth at para magpatuloy ang legacy ng infrastructure development.
Included in the 2022 NEP is the procurement of 758,700 sets of personal protective equipment or PPE worth 819 million pesos. It also covers 5.1 billion pesos for gene expert cartridges used in COVID-19 testing. 17 billion pesos is allotted for hiring and deployment of health service professionals, while 45.4 billion pesos is for COVID-19 booster shots of fully vaccinated Filipinos. 19.6 billion pesos is devoted for the construction and upgrading of health facilities. The government also allocated 983 million pesos for the establishment of Virology Science and Technology Institute of the Philippines and 140 million pesos for Philippine Genomic Information and Resource Hub for biosurveillance of COVID-19 variants. Nel Maribuhok, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
In other news, the Commission on Elections, or COMELEC, may release the election health protocols before the filing of certificates of candidacy in October. Dante Amento will tell us why.
The Commission on Elections and Bank has already approved the protocols for the 2022 elections. COMELEC Commissioner Sheriff Abbas says they have talked with the Interagency Task Force Technical Working Group over the matter.
2 weeks ago, meron na kaming initial meeting with the TWG of the IATF headed by the Department of Health. So, meron na kaming mga initial na binalangkas. It will be finally submitted to IATF for review na lang. Pero sabi ko nga, meron na kaming initial coordination with the IATF at initially na-discuss na namin yung mga protocols na yun.
But the guidelines still needs approval from the IATF Council headed by the Department of Health.
Yung sa electoral side naman, yun ang guidelines na adopting new normal procedures and safety guidelines for this election, starting from the filing of the certificate of candidacy, campaign, election day, at saka canvassing up to proclamation. So for the entire range of the election process, meron tayong nilabas na guidelines dyan on how we should operate safely sa ating mga voters as well as sa mga COMELEC officials and those our partners, including the teachers as well as the medical personnel.
The COMELEC admits the biggest challenge is maintaining the health protocols on the election day. Thus, they ask for additional budget from the Department of Budget and Management for their preparations.
Ulitin ko, mas pinakamadugo yung during election. That is why pinapatutukan ko yung budget namin because magsisynchronize dapat yung budget mo sa iyong preparation. Halimbawa, may hinihingi na mga additional payment or honorarium mga teachers natin. So magdedepende yan sa ibibigay na budget ng DBM.
Meanwhile, the COMELEC will conduct satellite voter registrations in different malls in the National Capital Region. Mall hours will be followed during registrations. Currently, voter registrations in NCR are suspended due to the implementation of strict quarantine restrictions. Damtiamento, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
Presidential Advisor for Entrepreneurship Joey Concepcion has formally submitted his proposal to create protected bubbles for vaccinated people in the National Capital Region. Authorities and experts expressed support for the said proposal. Asher Kadapan Jr. details why.
Micro-protected bubbles are expected to provide safer mobility to people that have already been fully vaccinated against COVID-19. Besides this, Presidential Advisor for Entrepreneurship Joey Concepcion proposed its implementation across Metro Manila to help the battered economy to recover and regain people's livelihood.
We have to increase the level of confidence of our consumers. That's very important. Our consumers that the workplaces and the businesses that you run, the restaurants, the malls, the salons, etc., are going to be safe for everyone to enter.
Metropolitan Manila Development Authority Chairman Benhar Abalos Jr. expresses his support in the proposal upon vaccination of the majority, explaining that vaccinated citizens have lesser vulnerability to the infection. Based on Metro Manila Council's data, bulk of active COVID-19 cases are unvaccinated persons reaching to over 15,000, while fully vaccinated patients are only about 4,000.
These data speak for themselves that really it's very important to get vaccinated. Once we have everyone fully vaccinated, that's what Joey is saying, we could be more flexible with the plans that he said. We could really do that.
Octa Research Fellow Professor Guido David agrees with such out-of-the-box advocacies of Concepcion, but he defers to the decision of the Interagency Task Force for the Management of Emerging Infectious Diseases in adopting the system.
It's not our call to make the balancing act. It's a very difficult decision. It's an unenviable decision, actually, very difficult. And that's why we defer to the IATF to make these recommendations, or at least to make the decision-making that they feel is best for the country.
Health Secretary Francisco Duque III himself is also in favor of the micro-protected bubbles in the capital region. But Duque emphasizes that it may be difficult to incorporate it in the policy as it has no legal basis and may violate discrimination against unvaccinated people who may have only been deprived of vaccine due to insufficient supply.
Okay sa akin yun, I support it. I'm just afraid that the challenge that the IATF might face, if not actual suits being filed, no? For number one, disenfranchising the unvaccinated.
Concepcion says he will submit supplemental information based on other countries' policies, as some foreign nations have already been implementing the micro bubbles. Asher Kadapan Jr., UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Food and Drug Administration Director General Eric Domingo confirms in a message that they have approved the emergency use authorization of the single-dose Sputnik Light. Sputnik Light is different from the Sputnik V, first approved in the country, which is a double-dose vaccine, but both are manufactured by Gamaleya Research Institute of Russia. Sputnik Light is the 9th COVID-19 vaccine that secured EUA in the Philippines. The government has yet to announce how many Sputnik Light orders will the country secure from Russia. For those watching us on YouTube, please click the subscribe button you see on your screen and ring the bell for notification. You may also follow us on Facebook.
The Armed Forces of the Philippines downplayed the idea of the possible spillover of Afghanistan tension in Mindanao. Meanwhile, the AFP is still waiting for possible guidelines in accepting Afghan refugees in the country after Malacanang expressed openness to admit them. Leah Ilagan reports.
The Armed Forces of the Philippines is confident that our military forces can prevent any possible spillover of the ongoing conflict in Afghanistan. Although at this moment, no threats have been monitored. AFP spokesperson Colonel Ramon Zagala says Mindanao is more secured now, even those areas identified with the presence of terrorist groups.
As of now, we can safely say that a lot of the areas where the local terrorist groups roam are secured and stable. No? Through the years, we have already been gained headway in our efforts in local terrorist groups against local terrorist groups, and we're confident that we will be able to finish them as soon as possible time.
But Zagala said the people in Mindanao need to be more vigilant to prevent such violence to occur.
We're confident that our efforts in Mindanao in security and stability operations there are bearing fruit. No? So we believe na it's safer, it's more stable.
AFP Deputy Chief of Staff for Operations, Major General Edgardo de Leon also said that they see no security threat in accepting refugees from Afghanistan.
We don't see any risk there because those trying to seek asylum are those people who are peace-loving, who are running away from conflict.
Philippine Institute for Peace, Violence and Terrorism Research Chief Romel Banlawi earlier warned of a possible spillover of Afghanistan tension in Mindanao. Banlawi said the tension in Mindanao could inspire local terrorist groups to launch an attack. Leah Ilagan, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
A section of a road in Ortigas Business District, Pasig City, was closed to traffic after massive cracks appeared following heavy rains yesterday. Officials also ruled out that thunderstorms could have caused the crack. Marvin Calas explains why.
Pasig City Mayor Vico Soto has ordered the city engineer's office to submit their full assessment after cracks appeared on a portion of Topaz Road in Ortigas Business District at the height of severe thunderstorms and heavy rains on Sunday night. The road was ordered closed to motorists as barricades were placed on Topaz Road between the corners of Opal and Garnett Roads. In an initial investigation, the City Engineering Department suspects soil scouring could have caused the 70 meters crack due to the ineffective drainage system and water lines in the area. Scouring is a term used by engineers to describe the particular type of localized soil erosion that happens around elements of a foundation.
Initially, kailangan ito kasing i-improve yung existing drainage line kasi maliit. Hindi na akma doon sa sa discharge ng mga accommodation ng bawat building na to kasi ito ay residential yung area na yon dahil sa kadahilan nagkaroon ng outburst nung drainage line o yung ating water line, kaya nagkaroon ngayon ng scouring. Napunta ngayon doon sa malalim na hinuhukay yung ibang lupa ayon sa initial na inspection result ng ating Office of the Building Official.
The Pasig local government, with the joint initiative of the Ortigas Company, is expected to immediately start the 5-day reconstruction of the damaged road.
Ngayon, I address the concerned group already that we will execute within 24 hours, and then the program for the restoration of that within a solution to be done within 5 days. I-restore natin yung stability nitong karsada na to.
The engineering department meanwhile assured nearby establishments that there is no need for an evacuation as the buildings within the area has a strong established foundation. A company doing construction activities near the area also said that they will stop their operations momentarily to help in investigating what caused the cracks. Marvin Calas, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
A pregnant Afghan woman managed to make it to an evacuation flight from Kabul's international airport. After landing safely in Ramstein, Germany, she successfully gave birth. Queenie Rivera tells us the details live. Queenie?
Elsie, hours after boarding her second evacuation flight on the U.S. Air Force C-17 aircraft from the Middle East to Germany, an Afghan mother went into labor 28,000 feet in the air. The U.S. Air Force stated that during the flight, the mother began to experience labor issues and faced complications with her pregnancy due to air pressure in the aircraft. In a tweet, the U.S. Air Mobility Commands posted to help her relieve the pain and save her life. The aircraft commander descended the vessel in altitude, stabilizing the mother's condition. She then continued to give birth in the cargo bay area where the Air Force's 86 Medical Group aided her with the delivery. The Afghan mother and her newborn girl are now staying in a medical facility and are said to be in good condition. The Ramstein base is able to hold 5,000 evacuees, but with new facilities underway, they are able to cater for 7,500 by this coming Sunday. To this date, 22,000 people have been evacuated from Afghanistan since the end of July, with 17,000 of those since August 14. Elsie?
Thank you, Queenie Rivera. United Kingdom is set on Tuesday to launch the first antibody test to be administered to the general public. This is in hopes of gathering vital information about protection against various variants of COVID-19. Ruth Bahe tells the details live. Ruth?
Elsie, the antibody test, which was previously used only on studies and surveys, is now being offered publicly to citizens of 18 years old above residing in England, Wales, Northern Ireland, and Scotland. Up to 8,000 people will be enrolled to the antibody test, a non-obligatory new scheme designed to collect data and monitor levels of antibodies among those infected with COVID-19. According to officials, a two-finger prick antibody test will be sent to the enrollees. It should be done immediately at home following a positive PCR test result and another one on the 28th day thereafter. The test should then be sent back to medical officials for analysis. A positive antibody test indicates that the person have developed antibodies to COVID-19. The data will be used to inform the ongoing approach to the pandemic and give further insight into the effectiveness of vaccines on new variants. This could also provide an insight into any groups of people who do not develop an immune response, according to the Department of Health and Social Care. Francois Belac, director of the UCL Genetics Institute, said the rolling out of antibody tests to the public would provide much-needed data, which, depending on the collected data, could also lead to targeted booster vaccinations for vulnerable people. Elsie?
Thank you, Ruth Bahe. Tropical storm Henri has further slowed down and downgraded to a tropical depression. However, officials continue close monitoring due to its persistent heavy rainfall. Marvin Delphine will tell us why live. Yes, Marvy?
U.S. National Hurricane Center reported Henri's winds weakened from 60 miles per hour down to 7 miles per hour by 8 p.m. last Sunday night. The NHC, however, states that the now slow-moving tropical depression has produced persistent heavy rainfall, thus drenching New Jersey and New York with 9 inches of rain by Saturday. The Weather Prediction Center, as a result, has triggered flash flood warnings and potential power outages for areas that will be and will continue to be affected, mainly the coast and metropolitan areas of Rhode Island. Henri is expected to further slow down along the border of New York and Connecticut, and then make a turn to the east-northeast region. President Joe Biden, in a briefing on Sunday, confirms his approval of the Federal Emergency Management Agency to prepare disaster relief and deploy emergency responses to areas damaged by the storm.
I've already approved emergency declarations for Rhode Island, Connecticut, and New York, which activates funds and means we can get in there and help as soon as this extreme weather has moved through.
The president did not fail to remind the residents of COVID-19 protocols as they wait for the storm to pass. Elsie?
Thank you, Marvi Delphine. And those are the reasons behind the news in other parts of the globe. I am Elsie Marcos, live from Auckland, New Zealand. Good evening.
The Dumaga tribe of Sitio Tala in Tanay Rizal now has more reasons to face tomorrow in a brighter light. This after receiving a special gift of love from Wish 1075.
For Sitio Tala, a place that shares the same name as the stars, not having enough light sources is quite ironic. Located in Barangay Mamuyao, Sitio Tala is home to the Dumaga tribe. It is nestled in the mountains of Tanay Rizal and is one of the 17,000 sitios in the country with no access to electricity. Without such a vital resource, their far-flung settlement is inevitably void of ample light whenever nighttime arrives.
Ako'y nalulungkot, pagkat ika'y wala, di ka nakapiling.
Malaki rin ang epekto sa katulad namin na nanira dito. Halimbawa, may doon akong target na tatrabahunin nakaplano na hanggang alas 9. Di siyempre wala kaming ilaw. Yun ay isang maaaring hindi na matuloy yung schedule kong iyon dahil nga sa kakulangan ng ilaw o kaya kuryente. Kung gusto man namin may importante kami masyal doon sa duluhan doon, parang nag-uutos na rin sa amin na humahadlang yung dilim ng daan dahil alam naman nyo ito bundok, mapanganib lakaran.
Planting agricultural crops is their main source of livelihood. To reach the city proper and sell their produce, they have to walk and trek through a trail spanning 7 kilometers. Their livelihood entails waking up early and coming home at sundown. And without enough light sources, doing a daunting means of living has only become more challenging.
Dito na kami pinanganak, dito na po kami tumanda sa ito, paikot-ikot ng Mamuyaw, Tala, ganun lang po. Yun ang tinataniman namin ng luya, tinataniman namin ng gabi, tinataniman namin ng kamuti, saging, mais, kamuting baging, palay. Doon po kami lamang humahangon ng aming pinagkakabayan. Katulad niya kung may kabayo, sasakay namin yung aming kalakal, parating doon sa aming pamilyang bayan. Kami po ay kuminsan babasag ng kawayan para kami ay makaahon lamang doon sa aming lugar. sinisigaan namin yan para siyang tanglaw para kami makaabot.
This scarcity, however, is not only affecting the older members of the tribe. The situation of students in Sitio Tala is no less difficult.
Naapektuhan yun, hindi sila makapag-aaral ng gabi. Imbes na makapag-aaral sila, makapagbabasa-basa sila maski kaunti sa gabi, kasi sa araw, sumasama sila sa mga magulang nila sa kaingin. Sa gabi, yun na lang ang panahon nila para makapagbasa. Dahil sa wala akong kuryente dito, mas nahihirapan sila mag-aral sa gabi.
It is also a challenge whenever tribe members would need to move their patients to the health center.
Mahirap po, lalo na po pag emergency, nagpapaano na lang po kayo yung buho, alam niyo po yung parang kawayan, so nagpapasindi na lang po ng ganun para po meron pong maipang ilaw po, pababa po doon sa sentro po at yung pasyente po ay maibaba po doon sa mismo pong pagamutan.
Without sufficient light sources, it's been a challenge for the Dumagat tribe to get by. Around 50 families rely on just bamboo torches, bonfires, lighters, and 2 solar lamps to light their place once the sun goes down.
Kung mga dadalwa pa nung mga panahong una, yung iba ay nalidiliman. Pero sinasabi namin sa kanila, tayo ay magsawa na humingi sa itaas unang-una sa Panginoon. Pag tayo kako ay perbiyan, tumatawag sa Kanya, yung pagpapala, madali tayong datingan. At salamat din sa Panginoon at hindi pa nagtagal yung aming mga dalangin ay kami ay nabigyan.
Dumagat tribe is one of the recipients of Wish 1075's 7 Gifts of Love. As part of its 7th anniversary celebration, the station donated and installed 30 solar street lamps in hopes of helping the tribe's lighting needs.
Nagpapasalamat po ako dahil kahit po malayo ay nagtsatsaga yung mga tao nyo na pumunta rito upang maabot ninyo ang mga tao rito na mabisita nila at nagbigay po kayo ng tulong para sa Sitio Tala na alam naman po ninyo na madilim din talaga ang lugar na to.
Malaking ang pasasalamat namin at unay sa Diyos. Malaki ang ipagbabago ng aming pakiramdam kahit gabi pwede kaming lumakad kung kinakailangan. Kaya salamat. Kami ay nabibigyan ng tulong para ipagbago naman itong aming komunidad.
Libre afternoon si Opang hindi ahay sabay bintana ahay sabay ang luha.
With eyes lit up and hope ignited, the Dumagat tribe of Sitio Tala now has more reasons to face tomorrow in a brighter light.
Wish 1075 showcased a bigger heart for music and charity as it celebrated its 7th anniversary yesterday. Nina Armilia reports why.
Wish Gifts of Love marked the second time that Wish 1075 held a digital anniversary concert. OPM acts staged all-out performances to entertain and spark a connection with the audience despite geographical limits brought forth by the COVID-19 pandemic. Morissette and Moira de la Torre top-billed the event, performing their newest hits before a virtual crowd of over 29,000. Who was was named Breakthrough Artist of the Year at the 6th Wish Music Awards, performed both songs from his sophomore solo record. While Arthur Neri and Janine Teñoso dished out their debut collaboration aboard the Wish 1075 bus. Completing the roster of performances were Magnus Haven, Soul Republic, and the indie pop duo Lian and Nara. Charity also played a central role in making the digital revelry more meaningful. The aptly titled event served as a culmination of Wish 1075's months-long effort to reach out to the underprivileged across the Philippines. The gifts of love being referred to are the 7 different charitable acts initiated by the FM station. These include a 7-day feeding program that provided 700 meals to 100 children with disabilities in Cavite. The donation of printers for modules and ink and bond paper supplies to 5 schools in Bicol, Rizal, and Quezon. The construction of a new home for a single parent in Mauban, Quezon. And the installation of free potable water supply for a community in Barangay Vinapor, Agusan del Norte. Over the past 3 months, Wish 1075 also granted a food cart business to 3 deserving breadwinners from the National Capital Region, gave away grocery items to 740 indigents, courtesy of 7 Wish stores opened in select provinces, and installed 30 solar lamps for the Dumaga tribe of Sitio Tala in Tanay Rizal. In his speech, Wish 1075's Kuya Daniel Rason emphasized the station's passion for music and charity, the very drive that fuels them to pursue their projects, especially during the pandemic.
We at Wish 1075 will continue to spend our God-given time as wisely as we can sa tulong po at sa awa ng Panginoon. We will continue to grab every opportunity to share the amazing talent of our Filipino artists all over the world and to spread love and compassion to everyone.
Underscoring how time should be spent wisely, Kuya Daniel Rason further shared what the artists and audiences alike can expect as Wish begins another year in the industry.
And in the coming years, God willing, we will continue to be of service to Filipino artists and our fellow men in need. It's because we believe that good music, hopeful wishes, and most importantly, good works are worth spending time on.
Ultimately, Kuya Daniel encouraged the crowd to take part in sharing the gift of love.
Wish 107.5 for the kids on ground!
Nina Armilio, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
And before we close, we will leave you with the final word, giving glory to God. From the book of Romans, chapter 12, verse 19. It says, "Dearly beloved, avenge not yourselves, but rather give place unto wrath. For it is written, Vengeance is mine, I will repay, saith the Lord." And those are the reasons behind the news, August 23, 2021. I am Henri Delgado.
Reasons we deliver to you as they unfold, Evangelio Castro III.
And because we need to know, we will always ask why. I am William Theo. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
Yung malakihan ng mga lockdown at restrictions ay mukhang hindi na po nagiging effective para sa atin dito sa ating bansa.
As of now, we can safely say that a lot of the areas where the local terrorist groups roam are secured and stable. Through the years, we have already been gained headway, no, in our efforts in local terrorist groups against local terrorist groups, and we're confident that we will be able to finish them as soon as possible time.